We have sort of imported this idea of counselling and counselling for everything, and most bereaved people say early on, someone has said to them, you should go and see someone, or I can give you the name of a good counsellor. And I think we need to be cautious about that. Grief isn't an illness. It's normal to be bereaved, and it's normal to be upset. And some of the research would suggest, if somebody sees someone professionally, that the natural network can pull back a bit, because we'll say, oh, well, they're seeing somebody professionally. Well, that kind of excuses us then from having to come in. Most of the healing occurs within the natural network. But you're quite right, sometimes for all kinds of reasons that natural network isn't available. Either they're physically not in the country or not available, or everybody is so full up with grief that they're just about staying afloat themselves. And in those circumstances, I think it's really appropriate to seek out some bereavement support. There is fantastic listening groups available to sit with somebody who's been trained in listening skills, who's likely been bereaved themselves, that they can give you some time and space. It's not saying there's something wrong with you, but we live in busy times. It's not unusual for someone to say, oh, the family are great, but they're all gone back to England, or they're all back at work, or then I don't know my neighbours, or I have great neighbours, but everyone's busy during the day. We don't take the time. And in those circumstances, I think it's hugely important to find somebody who can listen and let you tell the story. Because in telling the story to someone else, you're telling yourself and you're hearing it. And it's from that those resilient pieces come, like someone saying, well, at least this didn't happen, or it might have been worse if, or, you start noticing the little differences as you start stepping back into living your life without that person. Now, that's for most people. For a very small percentage of people, maybe 10% of bereaved people, they get quite stuck in their grief. The grief can become disabling to where they're not functioning well. Most people early in grief will say, my goodness, this is much worse than I ever thought it would be. But it just shifts and it reshapes. So we never want to pathologize grief or make people feel there's something wrong with them. But we do know now, there's good research to back it up, to say for that small percentage of people that get stuck in their grief, they probably need more than a listening ear. They need very specific intervention to get the grief moving again. Not to get over it, but to get it back on track. So if we use the analogy, say, of a grief as a train journey, everyone's is unique and different. People stop at different stops for different amount of times, but people find their own way, not to get over the grief, but just to reshape it to where they can re-engage in life again. If the train topples over and it's spinning its wheels, no matter how much somebody tries, they're not able to move in their grief, and that's where an intervention from someone with grief specialisation is important. And certainly, and that's some of the work that we do here, these people will say they start feeling like they're not trying hard enough, or people are getting a bit fed up with them. So I think it's important that we upskill GPs and listening agencies to notice, is this somebody that's having just a normal grief trajectory, or has this person become very stuck in their grief and they need something else?